This is Majo John Madden, reflecting on my life, and I recently got told I don't have very long to live, honestly. And I'm trying to capture some of the most important stories, especially from my last 5 years, which are spent totally on the road. Having left Asheville, North Carolina, hippie progressive haven, for deep Appalachia, and I spent a year rambling around up there. I got so many great stories. We're going back 5 years now. This is July of 2020. So I had my favorite mountain up in those mountains was Roan Mountain, Roan, and it was the grandfather of all the mountains around there. And they were the high mountains of western North Carolina. They were 6,000 to 7,000 feet, which is nothing like the Rockies, but big mountains up there. And on the north side of that mountain, it was Tennessee, and the jewel of the entire Tennessee state park system was Roan Mountain State Park. And I hung out around there a lot. And at that point, I was thinking I just wanted to spend the rest of my life up there. I was so happy up there. And exploring, and I did tend to go places you're not supposed to go. And at the end of one hour there was a posted property. You weren't supposed to go in there, so I went and looked around. I was looking in the windows, and it was a house that had been abandoned for a couple years, but it looked nice inside. I thought, I bet I could pick this up. I didn't have any money really, but I had thoughts of how I could come up with some. So I was trying to track down who owned that house. And what I found out was that the owner, in Appalachia, they want to keep it in the family. Keep it in the family is sacred, which was being violated all over the place because real estate investors from all over the Southeast were snapping up everything. But what I found was the member of the family who owned that little house was actually living in Hawaii, but she was going to come back in a month. And her cousin lived at the end of the holler, and he turned out to be a really good guy. I loved him and his wife. But it was classic Appalachia. They had junker cars all over the yard, and a bunch of barefoot kids running all over the yard. And I ran into his mother-in-law, who was sharp, and I was honestly hot for her. And she says, well, did you meet the wolf dog? Well, they had a bunch of dogs. There was one that looked like part coyote. You didn't meet the wolf dog. That dog is genuinely dangerous. He's half wolf. He's genuinely dangerous. He loves the kids. He loves the family. But anybody else, they had to coach me how to not allow him to attack me, because he would. So if you had met the wolf dog, you'd know. So the next time I was there, I met him. And he's big dog and clearly part wolf. And he started to stalk me. He did. He was stalking me, growling. And fortunately, I've always had a loud voice. And over the last few years, I've learned how to channel rage and anger in wonderful ways. And I hit him with a blast that he tucked his tail between his legs and slunk away. And I thought, no, that poor dog, look how easy that was. Probably nobody is ever really nice to him. I'm gonna make up with him. So I talked sweet. Here, doggy, come on, you're a good boy. You're a good boy. He started to stalk me again. I said, you're dealing with a wolf, man. You're dealing with a wolf. He does not understand that from strangers. So I blasted him again. And he went away again. You have to know the audience, You have to tailor your communication to the audience. And I learned that when I went to the South for the first time. And I learned that when I went to Appalachia. And now I've been learning it in Mexico. It's a whole different language. And people are always telling me, you speak Spanish like a Mexican. And my Spanish is pathetic. I have very little vocabulary, very little syntax, and less investment in trying to learn because I don't have long to live. But Mexicans like the way I talk, and they recognize me. And the other thing I found is, and I knew this up in Appalachia, the cultural similarities between Mexicans and Appalachians, love of family, love of land, a genuine sweetness. Oh, culturally, they're so similar. And they do recognize me here. Okay.